Hey there! Did you know Baker's always gives you savings and rewards on top of our lower-than-low prices? And when you download the Baker's app, you'll enjoy over $500 in savings every week with digital coupons. And don't forget fuel points to help you save up to $1 per gallon at the pump. Want to save even more? With a Boost membership, you'll get double fuel points and free delivery. So shop and save big at Baker's today. Baker's, fresh for everyone. Savings may vary by state. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
This episode is brought to you by Pepsi Wild Cherry. Pepsi Wild Cherry is bursting with delicious cherry flavor and a sweet, crisp taste that gives you more to go wild for. Getting wild may look different these days, but whether it's opting for a solo Friday binge watch or a big night out, everyone can indulge in their wild side with Pepsi Wild Cherry. Also available in Zero Sugar. So grab a Pepsi Wild Cherry and get wild.
I mean, if that's the case, then that is another absolutely egregious mistake by replacement referees. Egregious. I'm not convinced that's actually what happened.
That's what Vermees said. That's what Tim said.
Well, so then why aren't they? We need an apology from the refs. We need an apology from the league.
It didn't result in a goal.
That's a joke. If the refs were responsible for this, then it's a joke. Back at it again. Undefeated to start the season. A stingy defense that's only given up one actual goal in the first 3 games. Sporting KC get a result, a gritty result. I love when we get to call things gritty, Thad. A gritty result against the Western Conference defending champs. Pulido was pusillanimous again. Look it up. They got this result in spite of, Thad, their keeper just forgetting how to play soccer in the middle of the game.
Why should he be any different than the refs?
We are the KC Soccer Journal. My name is Cody Bradley. Thad Bell, David Greenwald are here. And we're joined by Stacy Folk for the first time. Another KC Soccer Journal compadre.
Yeah, long-time listener, first time.
Long-time listener, first-time caller. You'll love to see it. This episode is brought to you by the Apple TV Pronunciation Guide. Names are arbitrary. Live your life and just watch Leo Messi instead. The Apple TV Pronunciation Guide. Do whatever.
They follow that very closely.
That's what it felt like last night. It's just such an easy fix. Man, okay, we'll get to all of that. Let's talk about something positive, though. The stingy defense, David. And yes, my own personal record book, 1 goal in the first 3 games to start the season.
Is that right? Haven't we given up 2 goals?
Not in my personal record book, is what I'm saying. Are you listening to me? In my personal record book, they've given up 1 goal.
Which one didn't count?
Which one didn't count? The one that was an erroneous stoppage time goal after they were given a throw-in. None of it made sense, David. That's the one that doesn't count. You know what the one I was talking about.
Oh, my fault. No, the team was great last night. The defense was great. Fontas, who I've had very mixed opinions on over the years. Fontas was a rock last night.
Dude, he was. He was a wall. At the first 20 minutes of that game, all he would just stick one leg out and he intercepted or blocked 5-6 passes right from the start.
Well, he's like that tall, man. He's got a little reach.
Yeah, he does. Leg reach.
Yeah. Well, he's learned to do that because he's not going to outrun the attackers.
Exactly.
So he's learned to cut off the passes. And again, that's why he's good. He's never been fast, even when he was in La Liga.
It's a little bit desperate, those sticking the leg out if you don't get them. But it was working last night, Stacey. Are you a Fonty guy, girl?
Sometimes. I think probably more than some people.
Like David?
Yes. He's clearly slow. Like, that's no question. But he does oftentimes end up exactly where we need him to be.
I saw a comment that he isn't necessarily the perfect pairing with Rosero. Like, that they aren't necessarily a perfect pairing, but that Fontas could be elite if he did have a guy that complements him.
What would he need to complement him better than Rosero? Rosero's fairly quick. He's willing to take risks.
Yeah, I don't necessarily agree with this, but who was his partner when Fontas was elite, when he was like in the MVP conversation? Who was he paired with those years?
That's a Man, that's just a couple years ago, too.
I know. It wasn't even that
Roberto
long ago.
Puncic. but he wasn't in the MVP conversation based on his defense. He was in it based on his passing. And his passing last night was great, too. But last night, he didn't put a foot wrong. He made so many interceptions. He was reading the game so well. I also want to give a huge shout out to Jake Davis.
Yeah.
Who put Denny Bouanga in his pocket.
Dude, what a game from Jake against like the most lethal scorer in the league.
Yeah, Bouanga did have moments, though, that he beat Jake, but Jake did an excellent job at keeping it to a minimum.
He did get beaten, and they did have these big chances. They hit the crossbar and all of that. But don't forget, their two biggest chances that they had were eventually called back for offside.
Yeah.
The defense was on it, man. On the one that Bouanga hit the crossbar and the other one that was probably an even closer chance than that, both of them were called offside. That back line was tight, solid the whole night.
Tim made big saves.
Tim made one big save.
I think two.
Two big saves. Okay.
One in each half, but if not more. But those may have been called off. I don't remember specifically for there.
One of the things about Jake, we talked about when he was in the midfield that he was almost Rodgers' true replacement, that he was the guy who was willing to put in the challenge and bite.
Yeah.
And he's kind of taken that to the right back spot. Like, if you watched him last night against Denny Bouanga, every time, he would make a tackle, but he would leave a little extra end to let Bouanga know that, like, you're mine, Yeah. And I, to talk about the other football, I was watching a thing about the Raiders pass rusher, Max Crosby, and how even when he doesn't sack the quarterback, he always makes sure to, like, pat the quarterback to let him know, like, I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
He always just, like, touching them. Like, he won't sack Mahomes, but he'll run by and, like, smack him on the back. And Jake does that. Like, Jake made a great tackle on Bouanga down like right by the end line, clears the ball, and just kind of gives him like a little tap to let him know that, like, I got you. And it's fun to watch.
Jake is really fun to watch. There was that play he had at the end of the game. That guy that LAFC subbed in that had the headband and a really baggy jersey. He looked like a little Bow Wow running around.
Ilie with the cornrows?
No.
And the headband?
No, Ilie changed his hair.
That's right.
Guys, I was buying the hair. Did you just notice he put it up in a little bun at halftime? He had it in the long pony, and then at halftime it was up in a little bun. I liked the 90s action movie henchman look of the first half. I honestly, I thought it suited him.
Wasn't he in Karate Kid 2 or whatever, 3?
That's what I'm saying. He looks like he should have been. He was standing behind that evil coach just with that hair and the ponytail.
Yeah, there was something about the cornrow thing, though. They did mention something about how it's going around the team or multiple people are doing it. There's some significance to it. I still didn't think it looked good on Ilie, but yeah.
But that play that I'm talking about, it was right at the end of the game. I think it was that one where literally the last kick of the game, Timmy. Oh, that was the other good save from Timmy. Literally at the whistle. And when that play was developing, Jake did really well to cut the guy off and ran right at the ball, and physically impossible. The ball like fades through him. I don't know how he didn't get contact with it. It looked like FIFA when you're playing FIFA and you run at the player but don't hit the right button to like actually get the ball. It just morphed through him and they ended up with that play.
He's a beast.
And I do love that he's doing the little taps to irritate people and stuff. That was, when I played defense, that was one of my favorite things to do, is to get guys out of their game, is just to irritate them. And you would do that, just run by them. If they got by you, just do a little belly slap on them to let them know that you are there.
On the other end of the defense, Tim Leibold, Thad, was getting picked on all night.
Early he was bad.
Yeah.
But he improved throughout the game. Early he was bad. After
being bad, they identified like we should go pick on him though. He did get better, but he looked like the weak point of the defense.
He actually had, like, on FootMob, he actually had, I think, the highest rating.
Oh yeah?
Which is a little bit crazy considering how bad he was earlier. But it also shows how much better he improved over the game. I know it's stats and passes and all that stuff, and I don't know exactly how they calculate those. But I think he was significantly better and not the weak point in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, LA made a more concerted effort in the second half to get Bouanga into the game. And so they targeted Leibold less. But no, I thought Leibold started poorly, but really grew into the game. And he was pretty crucial in breaking the LAFC press, too.
Yep.
He was a good outlet for Fonte and was combining well along the left.
There's a lot of times people will complain about they should just kick the ball out. They should just play the ball out long, whatever. Last night they did a good job most of the time. There was a couple times that it failed, but they did a really good job of playing out and through that press and breaking that. Problem is the forwards didn't do anything with it after that.
One thing about Apple TV, Thad, that we kind of gave them the benefit of the doubt in the first season, but I think we were really hoping to see some improvement from the announcers. The one thing, they have to know this. They have to hear this criticism about saying players' names wrong so often. And they're still not getting it right. It's just embarrassing. Stacy, your boy,
Yeah.
the biggest Daniel Shalloy fan on the planet, and this guy starts off the broadcast screaming Shalloy. Infuriating.
It's just, it's different, I guess, if you could say, like, oh, he's new to the league.
He's a star.
He's a rookie. He's been here forever. He's been in all-star games. He's not new.
That's a valid point. And he's an all-star.
Like, it's not hard.
He's a 8-year veteran or whatever now.
And trust me, this isn't lost on me that our show is complaining about pronunciations when we employ Thad Bell.
I accept that criticism. I own that.
But no, that's what I mean. It's just, this is such an easy thing for them to get right, David. How are they still getting this wrong?
I mean, I don't know.
Hugo Lloris?
Oh, I have a list of how many times they mispronounced Hugo Lloris, who might be the most famous keeper in the world.
He's, oh my God, might be the most famous, and I've never once heard it pronounced Lloris. I'm not wrong about that, right? No. Are other people saying it Lloris? Have you heard this before, or did this man never watch a soccer game before calling this game last night?
It's Hugo Lloris.
Yes.
And look, my Spanish is not amazing. You have like a 600-day streak on Duolingo in Spanish.
Just over 500, thank you.
Okay. Yeah. The double L is not pronounced like a J.
Well, in Puerto Rico it is.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe that explains it.
My Spanish 1 teacher in 7th grade was Puerto Rican, and I learned tortilla.
Okay.
And yeah, that's how I learned to speak Spanish originally.
We got Hugo Lloris. We got Hugo Yuri. We got Hugo Lloris. I mean, the thing is, it wasn't even consistently the same mispronunciation.
Yeah, someone messaged them in the middle of the first half and said, hey, you're saying Shallowy wrong. Get it right. And then he did once and then failed again.
Oh, it was so bad.
It's an embarrassment.
Lloris, Hugo. I'll go with that.
There you go.
He's French. He's not. It's not.
That's what I'm saying.
So
right.
That Hispanic announcer must not have known that. But again, have you watched soccer in the last 5 years? He's a World Cup winner.
My favorite thing though is that when they have like the Latin American announcers calling games in English, they always put a little extra spice on the names, no matter where the person's from, whether they're French or American. So like,
I like a good flair though.
Eric Tommy had a little flair to it last night, right? Like Jake Davis, they'll find a way to put some flair. But then if you ever watch,
he was Davies.
Yeah, I heard Davies.
But if you ever watch like a game on like Telemundo, like when they call it in Spanish, whenever they get to a white guy's name, they have like the full flow of Spanish going, and then all of a sudden they're like Jake Davis, and then they go back into.
But
their
it
flow.
depends on how good at English they are. Like sometimes, like you're saying, it's kind of unfair to this guy, like that we're saying he's adding an unnecessary flair. If we say a foreign person's name, it comes out of our mouth in an American accent. So for some of these guys, they see a name, it's going to come out in their own native accent to some extent. But that's what I mean. It's just, it's shameful for this company to be doing this in year 2. It's shameful.
I just think there's not a lot of options out there, man. It's not like they're not. It's like referees, man. The pro referees were not choosing the worst refs in America to ref the games, right? They were the best. That might be sad, but they were the best. These are the best-ish announcers in soccer in America.
No way.
Well,
no way. No. Sorry. No. Stop. Cody, don't. Let me cook. No way that these are the best. No way. These are the ones that they picked. These are not the best. No way.
That they could get. The best they could get.
My problem is not even that they're not good at the calling of a game. It's just mind-blowing to me that this is such a simple thing. Watch a highlight from the week before, and you'll hear them say Shallowy correct.
Yeah, you don't have to be good to read a pronunciation guide. It just takes a little effort.
Embarrassing.
And again, I'm not trying to defend him because I've been long on record. I don't like announcers. I actually try to tune them out and only pay attention when I think they might have information that I don't. But just generally, they're not good because at least in the past, if you listen to like Nate or a lot of the home announcers or whatever, they might be biased. I'm not saying Nate was biased, but
he was hired to be. But okay.
Yeah, he's really not now. I mean, he was hired to be biased, but even then he wasn't.
Yes, he was a little too excited about that Alejandro Bedoya goal last week. I'll tell you that.
But he wasn't like over the top biased most of the time. But some of those announcers are, and I mean, I've listened to them, and they're such homers that it's sickening. And they hire these same guys. If they're going to do it, they should not be announcing their former teams. Is the only way I can see it.
Well, those are the only ones whose names they know.
And it's the only teams that they know because I was listening to Sirius Satellite Radio yesterday. It was a replay from earlier in the week where they were doing like the preview of the Sporting LA game, and they had one of those announcers on there. I'm not going to try to say his name because I will mispronounce it, and I accept the fact that I'm not good at it, but I'm also not a professional announcer. But I was just listening to him and how much stuff they were getting wrong, talking about how, Sporting's really, really struggled in LA, and Sporting's the only team that's gotten results in LA. Yeah. They're the only team that had 2 wins in LA.
It was 4 in a row that we lost, though, to be fair.
Yeah, but that's not all of history.
Yeah. Recent history, but...
Okay, hear me out. Gus Johnson. Nobody knows who Gus Johnson is? He's a very famous announcer.
It sounds familiar. What sport?
He did football. Very famously was talking about how some guys got running away from the cop speed.
Who's the NBA Jams guy? He's on fire. Get that guy.
Sure. Get any of the guys from TNT who do NBA on TNT. Get me Charles Barkley. Get Charles Barkley calling the game last night. I would be okay with the mispronunciations.
Yeah. No, I guess I am remembering that they were actually bad at times. I remember one, Pulido. We'll talk more about Pulido's pusillanimous game again. But there was one, he had a really bad first touch. There was a ball that came into him. If the first touch is better, he's able to get a shot off. It let him down. It was just a little too far away. And this announcer goes, great first touch from Pulido. Like, there were times in the game, I don't even know what they were watching. But I think we've harped on that enough, right? We've complained about them enough, especially because we can't do it ourselves.
That should just be a regular segment, though.
Yeah, it's apparently going to be. Again, we thought that we'd be over this in season 2. But
we should just have a segment in each show to complain about the announcers not knowing what they're talking about or being able to pronounce names.
And
we should play their pronunciation guides for them.
And we jump back to the previous week on our own show and show what you messed up saying.
I'm okay with that because I can laugh at myself, and I'm not a highly paid professional at this. And then we can also have a segment just talking about refs.
One name that is pretty easy to pronounce, Memo Rodriguez, got his start in place of an injured Remy Voltaire.
I have to acknowledge that I did get yelled at by Patrick for mispronouncing Memo's name.
Of course you did. How do you mispronounce Memo?
I said Memo.
Oh, no.
Why?
What is wrong with you?
I grew up in...
Go wash your car.
This is no offense to teachers in rural
Washington,
areas,
D.C.
I know.
Exactly. But I grew up out in the place where they don't have any name pronunciations, and that stuff sticks, man.
Yes, we're joined by a teacher here. Stacy is doing her part in molding the young minds of the KC Metro to be not just Daniel Shalloy fans, but MLS fans.
That's right.
Do you teach your children how to pronounce names?
Is that a course?
Well, we had an OI spelling pattern we had to learn, and Shalloy was definitely on the spelling list.
Oh, that's good.
Well, that's Shalloy. Would Memo have been on there?
Do we still teach kids how to tell time?
No. Well,
that's an unpopular opinion of mine that we should stop doing that.
No one reads an analog clock.
No one reads an analog clock anymore, and adults I know still can't tell time anyway. So people forget how to do it. Let's just stop wasting time. Let's teach them credit card responsibility.
What about cursive?
Yep.
Yeah, screw
Don't
cursive.
need that either.
Can we talk about Memo?
Yeah, what do you got on Memo,
Do
David?
they just sign their name with an X then if you don't do cursive?
Exactly. That's legal. Smiley face.
Squiggly line.
So it was interesting seeing the reactions to Memo online because he was getting roasted pretty good on both Reddit and I think on our site and in the game thread. I thought he played okay.
He did.
I did
There's
too.
one, what were they roasting him about? There's one moment there towards the end of the game where his lack of speed was on full display as he was gunning it down the field to try to block or get in a passing lane. Yeah, not fast. But he did, there were shades of Roger Espinoza out there. Roger cut his hair that last year. It felt a little bit like we had Roger out there.
Not Roger-esque. I don't know. But he was all right.
He's
all
not
right.
Roger-esque. I kind of do find similarities there. He doesn't have the bite and the,
No.
yeah.
He has a better shot
Yeah.
than Roger.
What a rip.
I mean,
Great save from Hugo Lloris.
He doesn't score a lot of goals, but... So anyway, I want to go back to pronunciations for a second.
Oh, God.
I sent my wife and daughter. My wife took however many years of French. Oh, it was a while back. And my daughter, who is in college right now, that has to have learned how to pronounce Italian and French and all that stuff for singing. So I asked, how would you pronounce it? And my wife responded with, it probably starts with a Y sound like yours.
Lloris. Yeah, I've heard that.
But just yours. So it could sound like Joris when they're doing the pronunciation. I'm just trying to give them a little benefit of the doubt.
No, it cannot sound like Joris. You're wrong about that. What do you feel about Memo last night? Do you like Memo?
Memo was really good.
No.
God damn it.
Okay, I had to do that. Hopefully Patrick's listening and he can give me crap later. I thought he was all right. He's the fourth midfielder right now, and that doesn't mean he should be starting a lot. But hopefully Remy is okay. Remy Voltaire is okay
Good job.
and can come back.
He also, they credited Leibold on the broadcast with like a big diagonal switch, and I could have sworn it was Memo who hit it.
It was. I remember that play.
I mean, that ball was amazing.
Yeah.
He had a couple very nice plays, and then by and large did a good job of just keeping the ball, recycling possession, helping break the press. He was not incredible, but he wasn't signed to be.
When I saw that ball go across the field, it reminded me that we had lost Graham Zusi, who was the man on the field that was so good at switching up play like that. So it's good that we have a replacement for that now.
And I think actually I'm more irritated with the announcers getting the wrong people than actually saying the name not quite right.
Yeah.
So I would rather hear them say Memo, but I'd rather just get the right people. And I'm not as worried about the pronunciation, but if you consistently get Shalloy wrong.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break and come back and talk about what the hell happened with Tim Melia.
Hey, it's Kaylee Cuoco for Priceline. Ready to go to your happy place for a happy price? Well, why didn't you say so? Just download the Priceline app right now and save up to 60% on hotels. So whether it's Cousin Kevin's Kazoo Concert in Kansas City, go Kevin, or Becky's Bachelorette Bash in Bermuda, you never have to miss a trip ever again. So download the Priceline app today. Your savings are waiting.
Go to your happy place for a happy price. Go to your happy price, Priceline.
All right, David, was what happened with this handball and the indirect free kick, the rare indirect free kick, was that as dumb as it looked, or was there some other confusion? Did the refs say something to someone that led to this confusion, or did Tim Melia just straight up forget what was going on and pick up the ball?
I still don't know what happened. Like, what?
Same.
Thad, tell us.
All right. Whoever went running by Jake, it was actually farther up the field. Okay. The AR did not raise the flag right away because that's what they're instructed to do in case they're wrong. If play goes down, whatever happens, the AR raises the flag, says it's off. Fontas sets the ball down and kicks it while it's still rolling. The ref makes a signal that it's still moving, but it goes to Jake Davis. Jake puts it back to Tim because he thinks it's supposed to be back there.
And in that
flag
video, you can see Jake is like confused about something. He puts his palms in the air like, what the heck, and plays it back.
So in all of that confusion, because I will admit that I sometimes question, like, when the AR raises a flag or when the actual offside took place and the AR doesn't raise the flag, should the ball be set where the original touch was or when the AR raised the flag? I think it should go back to where the original touch was, which is, I think, what the ref was going with because it went to Jake.
Well, that's not...
Jake plays the ball back, and that's the confusion. Jake was playing it back to Tim to restart it. Tim thought he was getting the ball to restart it, and it comes back to him. He's touching it up a little bit further to take advantage, and they come running in, so he picks up the ball. Like, what are you doing?
Okay, but so what you just described to me is 100% the fault of the refs. The refs told Jake Davis that the ball wasn't in play, and if that's the case, then the refs erroneously gave them an indirect free kick in the box.
Yes, more or less. They should have understood that that's what the situation was. But I will still say Tim should have understood that situation a little bit better. But that's essentially what happened was Fonte set the ball down. It was still rolling. He kicks it to Jake. Ref says no, ball was moving. Jake kicks it back to Tim. Tim picks the ball up. Boom.
I mean, if that's the case, then that is another absolutely egregious mistake by replacement referees. Egregious. I'm not convinced that's actually what happened.
That's what Vermees said. That's what Tim said.
Well, so then why aren't they? We need an apology from the refs. We need an apology from the league.
It didn't result in a goal.
That's a joke. If the refs were responsible for this, then it's a joke.
See, I think this goes back to the same complaint Johnny's had, which is that communication between the players and the refs has been really bad. Yeah. Where, Johnny's original criticism was they won't even talk to us.
Yeah.
And now it's just, we don't know what's happening. Like, they're not clearly communicating what is supposed to be happening on the pitch.
Did you listen to the VAR breakdown from the previous 2 weeks? They covered 4 things, and in I think 2 of them, the VAR had to tell the on-field referee, make the box sign.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Things like that. So they're having to walk them through. Can you see this? It's your choice, but do you see this happening? And they still, I thought, on one of those, I forget which one now, but one of those, I thought they were still wrong with what they went with, even after they went and looked at it. And I'm like, yeah, okay, that was not reckless.
That if you told your daughter, not a diehard soccer fan, but a soccer fan, she watches a lot of games. If you told her that she needed to go do a VAR check, the one thing that she would know about that would be to turn around and do the box, right?
Yes.
Everyone knows that. It's what you're waiting on doing. That's like, if you're that ref, it's like, oh, I'm excited to do this. Everyone's watching me box.
Do they have VAR in Division III Mexico, where the last week's ref came from?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I know, but then they know that they have to do this. Again, are they watching games? Because we see this all the time.
Every person in the crowd is making the box.
Yeah, the crowd's asking for it too.
Everybody in the crowd knows what the call was too, but yeah.
Okay. I guess we don't need to harp on that too terribly much. No, I'm tired of talking about refs.
At least the indirect free kick didn't hurt us.
It didn't. They survived it.
Be real cranky if they had scored.
Now, the one interesting thing we found out last night was they actually practice that regularly. They actually practice defending a indirect free kick like that.
That's good.
Not a lot of teams, I think, do, because it is pretty rare. Although my wife came down and was like, what happened? And I trying to explain it to her. And I'm like, I know she's seen this before because I know it's happened to my daughter's team at least multiple times because young keepers sometimes get confused.
Well, in my opinion, the defense on it was nothing spectacular. I thought LA did a really good job to get that shot off. It was Denny Bouanga just blew it. Yeah. They really should have scored off of that. Speaking of should have scored, another lack of offense game for Sporting Kansas City, David.
Should we have scored?
Not according to the expected goals.
Yeah, I'm not sure we should have scored. I mean,
we're climbing up though, right? It was a little more this game than it was the last two. We're adding like 0.3 a game.
It was like 3/4 of an expected goal.
Yeah.
I mean, Johnny hit the post. We had a couple like decent looks, right? Like Memo, hit that nice ball that bounced right. Nope, not Memo. Not Memo.
Well,
Memo, but the team isn't creating looks inside the box. And that's a problem.
I think there should have been some looks in the box, but Pulido let him down. Like it was the pass was good enough to be a good chance, and Pulido didn't do what he needed to do with it.
Yeah, I mean, part of the problem, and I really like Alan, but he almost plays as a false 9. He's oftentimes vacating space in the middle of the box. And the difference between Kinda and Tommy is that Tommy is more of a wide player, at least the way he chooses to play central in the midfield. Right. He likes to push wide, whereas Kinda was much more willing to run up the gut and try to make something happen through the middle of the field. All of our offense is generated from the wings. All of it is from the wings. And Daniel Shalloy didn't have a great game. And Johnny looks old.
Stacey, that was your cue to yell at him for
Yeah,
pronunciation.
that's right.
He yells at me for Memo. You yell at him for.
There's
He's
a
never
chair
had a
between
bad game.
there's a chair between Stacey and I, so she can't attack me for slandering Daniel. But Johnny looks old. Johnny does not look dangerous at all through 3 games.
That's fair. Thad.
He's had a couple good shots, but
Sure.
I mean a couple. All right, so just for context, last year at this time, Sporting was had 2 draws and a loss, and they had scored 0 goals.
Yeah.
Their defense was really stingy at the beginning of last year, but they weren't scoring. I'm just comparing. I'm not trying to say this is how things are going to go. Just
Well, Fed, who was missing last year to start the season?
same people are missing this
Yes, exactly. He's
Pulido
still
and
missing.
Okay, so in a lot of fairness, I think Pulido was better last night. I don't think he was great, but I think the overall sharpness in passing was much better. Their passing percentage was up. The overall play was good. The finishing wasn't there. The actual chance creation wasn't great. But overall, I think the play was better. I don't know when we're going to get Pulido that we paid $9 million for, but hopefully soon.
Stacey, is 0-3 undefeated, 3 straight draws? Is this acceptable to start the season for you?
No.
No.
I mean, aren't we supposed to, like, the goal is draw on the road, win at home, right? So we
Well,
didn't
the
we
refs
didn't
stole
win,
it from
right,
us.
but we didn't win. So, I mean, I'll take it. Undefeated is undefeated, but we got to win at home.
You're right, but again, that was an unusual circumstance, and you can take the occasional draw at home, but you got to get the occasional win on the road too. So I don't know. I'm not upset with how they are right now. I would like them to be better, obviously.
Stacey, you're our optimist. You're our eternal optimist. I was hoping you were going to call for an invincible season, undefeated, 32 games. 34?
30 plus draws, no losses.
Right.
Right.
It's an interesting, right? Because if you're looking at it from a pessimistic standpoint, we played a depleted Philadelphia Union team, dominated them, their second team in the first half, but couldn't make anything happen and end up with a 1-1 draw. Houston was missing Hector Herrera. They weren't at full strength, but and so drew them. But at the same time, Houston was a really good playoff team last year.
Yeah.
Drawing them on the road is not a bad result. Philly's a good team.
All 3 of these teams
they're
are
all
good.
good.
Drawing them, generally speaking, isn't a bad result, and we played better, I think, than the scoreline reflected. And then last night, I mean, if you were to tell me that we were to get a 0-0 draw at LA, that's a good result.
It's a good result.
Okay.
Yeah.
I am super happy with how we're doing so far.
Look at that. David's changing minds out here. And he's being an optimist. So how weird is that?
Wild.
Okay, so now, since everybody's now being optimistic, I got to flip to the other side. We don't know. We say that these are good teams. Okay, Houston was good last year, but again, they were missing players. Philadelphia was a good team last year, and they're missing players. LA just came off of, I mean, I'm not sure they're thought out from the Salt Lake game. So we don't know how good those teams are. This is 3 games into the season. We don't know how good anybody really is because any team can be great last year and terrible this year or vice versa. So
LAFC is going to be a good team this year. And you had all sorts of lovely things to say about Philadelphia. Robert said on our show that Philadelphia is what we wish Sporting Kansas City was.
I know. I totally agree with that because of their development of players and things like that and consistency. I do think they will be a good team. But I'm just trying to caution a little bit. Again, got to play the other side always. Each of these teams, we don't know how good they really are yet because of various situations, CONCACAF Champions Cup and all these other things, players missing. How good are they really? Because if you flip this, like, oh, we got a draw last year. Well, Sporting was a good team the year before. It doesn't.
I don't
change.
think we need you to both sides this one. I don't think there's a lot of. I was just trying to get Stacey excited here, but I don't think there's anyone after these 3 games that's like, oh, we're gonna win the league. I don't think anyone is getting too excited from these results.
I thought you were. So.
But you can also look at who's on the rosters, and like there are plenty of teams that have had like very good rosters but have had bad seasons. But generally speaking, you can look at the quality up and down. But all 3 teams, LA is loaded. They're a very good team and have 2 open DP spots. They're a very good team. That's not a bad result. Yeah, will LA win the West? I don't know. Neither do you. Nobody does, right?
No.
It's a long season. But like Cody said, don't try to both sides of this.
Why not?
Not because I said so. Knock it off.
How about this, David? Are you more positive or less positive right now about this team than you were when the season started, before the first game?
I don't think my opinion has changed a lot.
Yeah, I think that's where I am.
I'm worried about our lack of depth because yesterday, like people were talking. LA made 1 sub, we made 0 subs, but I thought we needed a sub in the midfield. But the only midfielder on the bench was Felipe.
The subs thing is a good point. I at one point thought we need a sub. We need some Agata in this game and all of that. But that, we talk about this a lot with Peter Vermees. He doesn't like disrupting the flow of his system in a game. And this game last night felt like one of those where I'm fine with what he was doing. They were their 2 biggest chances weren't real chances. And I think that was the right call last night. He had these guys that were in the flow of the game. It was working. The defense was shutting them down for the most part. And bringing in a new guy with some fresh wobbly legs who's not in the speed of the game could have disrupted things. I was on board with his safe subbing last night, lack of subbing.
I'm glad you're in the Vermees club now.
I think maybe you could have subbed in for one of the wings. That way, as you're defending late in the game, you could dump the ball long into the channel and let Afrifa or Agata run onto it.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, the midfield and the back line were communicating really well. They were playing out of the press really well. So I understand why you would not want to break that up by potentially subbing in Felipe and gambling that maybe he's not going to be able to do that. But that's my biggest fear with this team is a lack of depth. What happens if Jake Davis goes down? We have Caden, but he hasn't played in over a year.
Caden on the roster for the first time last night. Good shout.
What happens if Fonte or Rosero go down? Is Castellanos good enough to play minutes for this team over, let's say, 2 or 3 games?
Well, didn't we at least get an answer to this in the midfield from this game?
Yeah,
we have Memo. We did have one guy out. Memo stepped in, and they got a result against a good team.
Right, but what happens if Remy's out for 3 weeks?
Right.
Can we make 3 games where our only midfield sub is Felipe? And that's why I'd been harping on this weeks ago that I wanted a replacement to Gotti because I want another strong midfielder, somebody who can actually start. Because I think Memo is a good squad player, like a rotation player, but Memo ought not be playing a bunch of 90s this year.
And I'm totally in agreement with that one, man. He's a good 4th midfielder or 5th midfielder, but not a regular starter.
All right. David, we were just talking about how all these teams we're playing are good. Now we're running up against an 0-3 San Jose team.
They suck. They're terrible.
Well, that's good to hear.
I mean, unless we lose.
They got rid of Cade Cowell, right?
Yeah, they sold him to
Chivas, yeah.
Which is interesting because Chivas only signs Mexican national team players, right?
I think they've softened it. It's not Mexican national team players. It's just players with Mexican ancestry.
Of Mexican descent.
Yeah, and they can't just sign Mexican national team players. There's not that many of them.
So why does San Jose suck, David?
I mean, they just sold their best player, and it's the same San Jose it's been for however many years. I mean, when was the last time San Jose was good?
I would have said that Cade Cowell was probably their best player, but they have they have that DP.
Christian Espinoza.
He's good. He's their best player.
Yeah, I mean, he's good. When we played them last year, Cade Cowell was the game changer. When he came into the playoffs and started running at our back line, he was the dangerous player.
Yeah, absolutely.
Christian Espinoza.
Yeah, but that's a sub that can come in and make a difference, right?
Sure.
I mean, it's often the guy coming off the bench looks really good because they're going against tired players. But he's got that good-sized body and all that stuff. He's not a bad player.
How about the defense? Can we score on this team?
They've given up 7 goals so far, so hopefully.
Wow.
Hopefully.
Wow, 7. That's got to be tied or close to the most in the league right now.
I'm fairly certain it's
through 3 games. Jeez.
Yeah, they're shipping goals. And it's at home, so hopefully we can pick up the 3 points. It would be awfully disappointing if we couldn't.
They've not given up the most goals.
Most in the West.
Let's see. Hold on, David. Who has given up the most goals in MLS this year, do you think?
Don't be looking. Guess.
I already have it pulled up.
I asked him a question, and he instantly looked at the computer.
Yeah, I've already got the standings pulled up.
Oh, gosh.
Who is the worst defensive team in the league so far this year? You're doing fantasy, aren't you? Come on, you're
Yeah, but I'm terrible at it.
same. I don't know. Let's see.
Should be-
Orlando?
Yeah, I was gonna say Orlando because they gave up 5.
She
in one
was
game.
looking off of his computer.
I cheated.
And New England. who
What does
gave
that
up-
get you in school?
New England
Nay.
pounded last night.
What'd you say, David?
New England and Orlando are tied with 8 goals against because New England gave up 4 last night to, or 5. 4 or 5 to Atlanta. They got pounded by Atlanta.
And ask me if I've had the Orlando keeper in my fantasy roster all 3 games. Yes,
No.
I have.
New England's was just karma for that
So
stupid.
I would just like to point out, because I don't know if you heard this. I asked Stacy, what does cheating in school get you? And she goes, an A.
Teachers of America right there.
Cody, how's your fantasy team doing?
Oy.
I actually had a decent week. I paid more attention. I had got some value players in there. I scored a defender goal from what's his name? Emil. Oh man, it's a good name. I only put him.
Echinacea.
But it's like Emil Ek
I know.
something. That
I
was weird.
I was doing that to see if you could pick it up on it.
No, that was good. I put him only on my team because he had a good name. Emil. Is that another Emil Forsberg?
Emil Forsberg's a DP for the Red Bulls.
I have 2 Emils on my team. I only just realized. Yeah, he played really good. That was an investment that paid off. Goal and assist for him. That man is glorious. We have another good-looking guy that came into the league. He looks like a movie star that they've casted to play a soccer star in a movie.
Or knock off Thor.
A knockoff Thor.
Yeah.
But he is very good. He's fun to watch. I have a bunch of like Luciano Acosta is playing today. I've got a Miami guy today, so I don't know yet. But Saturday was good for my fantasy team.
Yeah, half my team plays this afternoon. So
I finally got Emmanuel Reynoso out of my lineup, so I got an extra player this week. It should be good. I'm counting on Acosta in Cincinnati to have a good game today, though. I captained him. Who'd you captain this week, Thad?
actually, I think Acosta. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lucho.
Okay.
Man, my team sucks. What a disappointment.
That game against San Jose is on Saturday. And also on Saturday, Thad, is the opening of the KC Current Stadium. Did you just hear me bail out on the actual name of the stadium? I chickened out on the name. CPKC?
It is.
Of CPKC Stadium.
I know. It's weird.
They opened it up on Saturday. Season ticket holders got to go get a look at it. What is the stadium looking like these days, Thad? Are they ready?
They are getting readier every day. Like I was
hope.
out there 2 weeks in a row, and you could just see a huge difference from just a few days of signage and little details and things like that. And I saw pictures of people posted yesterday. I drove by the other night and I saw they have flagpoles. They have flags on the flagpoles and, just little things like that. But I saw pictures from people yesterday that you could see that there was new stuff out there.
I was seeing them get into like the Kansas City subreddit when it was a cloudy, kind of a foggy night, and they had those purple lights shining, and you could just see the stadium from so far away. It's such a good spot that they have. It looks great. It's just an advertisement for the team from everybody driving by. I'm very excited.
I still would like to know why it's glowing pink.
It's a
Why not
valid
teal?
question.
Is it for International Women's Day?
Oh, yeah, that's probably spot on.
That's could be because my wife and I drove by there after we had dinner, and so she could get a quick look at it, and it was glowing pink. So that's a really good shout out there, David.
You know what I saw in some of those pictures that people posted was there was a tarp over the field, and the grow lights were on
Right.
the tarp. Does that have an effect?
I don't know. I'll ask that
Are
question.
you not a groundskeeper?
Probably closer to groundskeeper Willie than I am anything.
I thought you were my groundskeeper expert that I could go to about this.
I mow my grass. That's about as close to groundskeeping expert as I get. I know of good. I've actually stepped on the field. Wasn't
Oh, you
supposed
have?
to. Yeah,
Ooh, sneaky.
I know. But
Such a rebel. Who is covering this game for us? Do we have someone has the recap?
well, I haven't asked for who wants the recap yet, but I know that I will be there. Cindy will be there. I believe Chad will be there, and we're gonna have to be nice and carpool.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have to. You don't have to.
What? I'm just
gotta
gonna
pay
like
50
take
bucks.
the only parking spot because we get like one parking pass for the outlet.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
Look, that nobody says you have to be a benevolent dictator.
This is true, and as a parent, I fully endorse that.
I figured I would, because I knew we would have a bunch of people trying to go to this one, that I would not. I'm just leaving this alone. I'm gonna miss the first game.
Okay,
And let
but the
some others-
Miami game, you called dibs on like the moment it came out. So
Yeah,
let's
I'm
not pretend like you're some sort of saint.
I'm gonna witness Messi, bro.
Oh.
I'm gonna witness it.
But are you?
Yeah,
I
he's
know.
not playing.
I know. I don't think he is going to play. They won that midweek game against Nashville. The second leg is coming up next week. They're in a spot to advance, and if they advance, he will have a game the Wednesday before us. Now, is that the second leg, or is it the first leg of that next round? Because if it's the second leg, then the Sporting KC game he'll play will be the 5th game in 2 weeks.
Yeah, but I mean, he's a guy who wants to play everything. So just whether or not he's injured, man, that's really the big deal, or whether they force him to rest some. It could be a scenario where he doesn't start the game and comes in the last 30 minutes, or it could be a scenario where they have a Messi impersonator walking on the sidelines.
Well, we might get a template for what they're going to do today because they've had a congested schedule, and I took Messi out of my fantasy lineup because the assistant coach said he was not confirmed yet. So we'll get that answer today. And if he sits out today, I'm going to be even more worried about this Arrowhead game.
Did you switch over to the biter?
No, I put in Cucho. I want no part of Luis Suarez. Especially, he's not going to score another hat trick like that in the next game, is he?
I would hope not, but you never know.
Who knows? Hey, can we go back to talking about the Current for 1 second?
Yes, please.
So the Current have been lauded for their food options being so much better, and Sporting's food options are trash. Very, very bad. But they posted pictures online of like what the different food options are and how expensive they are. And so like if you want to eat at Waldo Thai, it's the cheapest like entree is $18.
Wow. Yeah, you're paying a premium for those local names, I guess.
Right. And so I guess my question is, would you rather have those local options knowing that it's going to cost that much money, or is it better to just get Sporting's garbage cheeseburgers?
Well, does this imply that they don't just have a concession stand with hot dogs and pretzels? Because if there's not somewhere that I could go do that, then this is a little weird.
So
But all the hot dogs are special person too, right?
Yeah, they're made by
local pig.
Yeah.
So, so KC Baby Smash Burger with fries is $14.
Love a good smash burger.
The local pig all beef hot dog is $7, but if you want to get like one of the nicer sausages, it's like $12 or $13.
It was tasty.
The crispy chicken tenders with fries is $16.
That's
Nachos is $13. Popcorn bowl is $12.
okay. Nachos is $13. How does that compare? We can straight compare that to other stadiums, right? That's about what you pay at nachos at a Royals or a Chiefs game,
I've
right?
never bought any at the stadium in the last 10 years, probably.
Just waving your privilege in front of our listeners, huh?
The only food I usually get very bad food at stadiums because it's usually just the press box food. I don't get that great of food.
Patrick is listening right now, and you're bagging on the food that they give you for free.
I think this is one time they'll agree.
I will take the free press box food over the like $22 chicken tender box that is also not good.
I will often eat before I go there if I have any doubts. And I always have protein bars in my camera bag because if I go up there and it's like some of the stuff that they've had. Last year when the Current and Sporting would play on the same weekend, it would be the exact same stuff on Saturday and on Sunday or vice versa. And it felt like it was the same stuff from the night before.
I wish they would just let us go eat in the suites. Right? Come
I
on.
do too. That was good.
Come on. They've done it before. Like, come on. What are we doing here?
That was CONCACAF though.
How many pieces of pizza could media possibly eat from?
Have you seen the press box?
Yeah.
I don't know. I see the press box has a lot of food left over at the end of it when they're cleaning it up every time.
That's because it's not the good food.
That's true. That's a valid point.
Cody, you're a seltzer guy.
Yes, I am.
How much would you pay for a seltzer at a game? Like, what's an appropriate amount to pay for a seltzer?
See, I haven't done this in a while. I don't know. You can get those. It's those big tall boy cans, right? Those are that's like $11.
Yeah, it's $10 for a seltzer, 10 for a canned domestic, $11.50 for a canned craft or import beer.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what it is at Sporting too.
Is it? Golly. I don't really drink, so that, it both saves me money and also,
I don't know, but the cost of everything has gone up so bad.
Yeah.
Like I saw a story with a $17.95 Big Mac meal, and I'm like, $18 for a Big Mac, and so when you say $15 or $16 for a smash burger there, I'm like, yeah, that is expensive, but it's not that out of line with what you might get elsewhere.
McDonald's isn't even cheap anymore.
No,
come on.
They got a $1 menu.
They've got it. They got to be the cheapest though of all fast food.
They use
Taco Bell.
Taco Bell.
In a world where Taco Bell exists,
right?
Taco Bell is not cheap anymore.
No.
What I get at this was a long time since I've been at McDonald's, but what I get at Taco Bell was more than what I fed myself at McDonald's.
Wow. What do you get there?
Maybe I can just eat more Taco Bell, or I'm not ordering meals properly and combos and whatever.
There's ways to always hack menus, but like I usually just like to order the 3 taco combo or whatever, and that used to be like $3.95, and now it's like $9 or something.
Stacy, do you think you could weigh in on what you think the difference between a burrito and a taco are?
Is this a thing?
This is an important question.
This is like a throwback for like 3 years ago.
Just like in your head as a definition. What's the difference between a taco and a burrito? How are you defining those objects?
I feel like a burrito is rolled up and closed.
Closed on either end.
Yes, and a taco is open.
Okay, but soft tacos are off. No, I guess you're right. Soft tacos are not closed on the outside.
Not unless you close them as you eat it.
What did you used to say, Cody?
I honestly don't even remember anymore.
This is like
I think I was going
like a callback to like 4 years ago.
I think what I was saying was the ingredients, like if you have beans and rice.
That's what you were saying, and that was so wrong.
I mean, flavor profile can be the same, but
yeah. And I would say often that it was the size of the tortilla, but it's how you hold the tortilla and contain it. It's not what's in it, because it can be in anything. So, there. I think Stacy did an awesome job here.
Yes, thank you for joining, Stacy.
Yeah, thanks. That was fun.
So, 2 things. One, Robert ditched us today to go to brunch.
But we're back in I guess I didn't even say this. We're back in the radio station studio. It's all fancy and nice. And Robert would rather go to brunch.
So, I think Stacy filled in admirably. And,
he's being pressured.
Maybe, yeah, right. Competition's good,
Kick him
right?
out.
You
Coming up behind.
Yeah, I mean, you always want to have a strong squad. No spot is safe. But 2,
she's our Memo Rodriguez.
I think she's better than Memo Rodriguez. But what do we think Robert got this morning?
My name right.
Dad, you know Robert really well. Is he like a chicken and waffles kind of guy?
No, I think he would be like a avocado toast with soft boiled egg or some dumb shit
he's
like
not
that.
going sweets. He's getting classic breakfast, Robert is.
Like an omelet?
But while we're on fast food, IHOP, everyone needs to know this about IHOP. Whenever I go to brunch, the problem is that I have to decide between something sweet or bacon and eggs and whatnot.
They have combos.
IHOP does have a combo. You look all these other places, it is very difficult to find that combo where it's bacon, eggs.
Waffle House.
Waffle House is another one. That's fair. But that's how, yes, Stacy, is kind of how I feel about Waffle House.
Why do you think chicken and waffles is so popular? It's sweet and savory. That's the whole point.
And that's why I go to IHOP, because they have a breakfast sampler and you can get it all in one meal.
Never quite got into chicken and waffles for breakfast. I've actually had it for like a lunch. But to me, for breakfast, the egg came before the chicken.
The problem with chicken and waffles, David, is when you order chicken and waffles, for some friggin' reason, the chicken often comes with a bone in it.
Chickens come with bones in it.
This is America. It's the year 2024. Don't make me work at my food. Boneless wings till I die.
Okay.
Do we
Also known as chicken nuggets.
Call them whatever you want. It's a better experience.
No.
I agree.
It's worse.
No,
I
it's
don't.
better.
This
I'm
is
with Cody.
it's the year 2024. I don't need to be
don't
dodging
want good flavor.
bone and tendon and fat.
Gross.
Bone in wings.
Give
have
me that
better
clean
flavor.
white meat chicken, baby. Call it a nugget if you want. They're better. Don't at me.
You are so wrong. This is worse than the damn burrito comment.
At that Cody, though.
just been sent off. Some point of strong and all gone soft. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking. Give me beer or whiskey, wine or gin, anything to shake this mood I'm in.